Third Eye Assassin. We're going to start round number one in your name, baby, because we got to talk about how both these gentlemen were running radio, especially in that late 90s era. Let's talk about the obvious, the elephants in the room. Usually I save them for something down the line, but I want to get it out the way automatically. Let's just get straight to it. Again, we're going songs back to back. We're no longer pausing. Pause, if that makes any sense. We are going to go straight into each other's song. Let's talk about the biggest single / classic song off of each album. Again, there's a few songs that people probably feel that way about, but according to the DSP numbers, when you think about the amount of video plays and the amount of views just on YouTube alone, we gotta talk about the two songs that made the most noise off of each project. Let's talk about these singles. Let's start off with N.O.R.E, SUPERTHUG, followed up by Feel So Good by M.A.$E. Let's start with SUPERTHUG, produced by the Neptunes.
Yeah. I'm actually waiting on the boss now. Yeah, he says that we have some kind of special assignment or something. He's supposed to be calling me any minute. Hold on. Let me get the phone. Hold on. Hello? Jackson here. Yeah. What? You found Manuel Noriega? In the Philippines? He has a mansion? Okay, we're on it right now. Bye.
Hey yo, we light a candle, run laps around the English Channel. Neptunes, I got a cocker spaniel. We on the run now, you know it ain't no fun now. And where I go, yo, niggas can't even come now. You make the law, nigga, break it. I don't care, but when you get caught, remember that. I don't care. N.O.R.E, love throughout the atmosphere. Let me now we on the run. Yo, if that ain't clear, weak niggas wanna snitch. Yo, but that ain't fair. Yo, we down in Vegas. All these guys too courageous. I know I'm on the run, but still rip stages. They call me Animal Dog when I'm in cages. I used to move phrases, roll dice with no aces. Now I live secluded in the oasis. Gotta take spaces, no time for car races. Check my sky till I got foul pages.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to. Yeah, what you know about going out? Head west, red legs, TVs, all up in the headrest. Try and live it up, ride jewel, bigger truck, piece all glittered up. Stick a kid, nigga, what? Jig with a cut, sip Chris, spit it up. Hoes ride, get your nut till I can't get it up. I'm a big man, get this man room. I done hit everything from Cancun to Grand Tune. Why you stand on the wall, hand on your balls, lighting up drugs, always fighting in the club. I'm the reason they made the dress code. They figure out what and why when I'm in my fresh clothes. Dresses, I suppose, from my neck to my toes. Neck full of gold, baguettes in my rolls. Rec shows, collect those extra O's. By the heat, get a key to the Lex to hold. East, west, every state, come on, bury the hate. Millions, the only thing we in the hurry to make. Whether from the ex-friend, intellect, or bins. Let's begin, bring this BS to an end. Come on.
Bad boy.
Yeah.
You make me feel so good.
Bad
You know
boy.
you make me feel so good.
Yeah.
You know you make me feel so good.
That's what we do.
Bad
Come on.
boy. I wouldn't change you if I could. I wouldn't change you if I could. I wouldn't change you if I could.
Come on.
Hey, I see the people laughing. I hope they laughing the joy. Everybody's chiming in the chat room. They saying what it is. It's the whole point is to bring up memories. And we got people beating up kids in karate classes that were white belts. You know what I'm saying? All types of shit happening in the chat room. Don't ever dismiss the chat room. Make sure you join us here every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you too can catch up on the lives of some of these reckless youth that be tuning in to Eats Beats and Rhymes every Monday. Let's talk about it. Like I said, the two biggest songs, I wanted to get it out the way. I wasn't saving it for later. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some of the other songs. So whether you like or dislike this round, we'll get over it right now. Let's get through it pretty quickly. Let's talk about it. No voting booth tonight. Make sure you leave your vote as plain and in big captions as possible. I've seen a couple people represent for Mace, seen a couple people represent for N.O.R.E. Let's see what the room feels right now. Let's go ahead and start off across the room. I'm gonna start with Triple C, executive producer Triple C. As a matter of fact, first, Triple C, when we talk, it feels so good, pause, versus Super Thug, who do you got?
Damn, man. How you play that Nickelodeon tune against Super Thug, man?
Oh, Nickelodeon. Let's be clear. I've seen some Kool in the Gang samples in the past. This one is it did what it did. You can't front. They still play this record to this day, Triple C.
Yeah, and Maze got busy on that, man.
I'm glad we go. I want you to expand on that after Triple C. I give him his. We gotta talk about Mace's lyrical ability.
I know he got the lyrics, but it's too cute. It's too cute.
Pause, Triple C. Pause. Pause, Triple C. Your Super Thug card is getting revoked at the moment. You're making it feel so good, Triple C. I'm gonna go ahead and stop you here. I'm gonna give you the vote for Super Thug.
Animal Thug.
Animal Thug. If you know, you know. Triple C being the first to put his vote down for Super Thug. Again, I believe this was probably, I imagine, one of the uphill battles that Mace probably had his entire career, especially in the beginning. His look. He didn't fit the part, which is why he went from Murder, Mace, to, P. Diddy naming him Pretty. You know what I'm saying? And it ended up working in his favor. 4 million sold on the first debut project by Mace. No Way Out. I don't know how many platinum, but his pen all over that. So 7? Is that true? 7 times platinum? Malcontent with the 7 times platinum. We again, your man Mace was putting up the numbers. At one point in time, like I said, Jigga was coming for him because he wanted his spot. So let's just be clear. And then we got N.O.R.E. Again, everybody's favorite thug, right? We crack jokes about it over here for years. Off the CNN album, the audacity, all-starness of his lyrics. And if you don't know what I mean, it just, I don't know. Almost like what your man, the good rep said. I've never liked somebody so much that I just was like, every time he rhymed, like, but really though? And and it's still fire. I love this album. Like I said, I love both albums. So we got Triple C, obviously showing his favoritism for the Super Thug song right now. Let's talk about anybody else in the room. Does anybody else want to throw a vote that feels so good just to balance it out before we keep pushing? Ooh.
I will.
Oh, you are? Malcolm,
Yeah,
you
I thought you were going to let Ike go next, but I'll go because, my biggest thing, both these albums, flawed as they both are, one of the things that kind of jumped out to me and made me tip it, right, was the lyrics. Because, Mace got bars, Mace can flow. No matter what you say. And for me, I'm not the first person to always love the pop song, right? But this right here, man, if you're gonna make a pop song like a hit, granted, it's the Kool in the Gang sample. Everybody knows, Hollywood, it's a great sample and all that stuff. It's a big hit back in the day. But just the way he flowed on it, just the whole tempo of it, and how he was just flowing on it, it was like perfect. And then to this day, you can play this at any kind of party jam or whatever. People are gonna like it. It is pop, it's old, whatever, but fond memories, it just hits like that. You know what I mean? I think it's just that good. I love, Super Thug is dope, and I'm like a gigantic Neptunes fan. For me, for whatever reason, this beat just did not age that well to me. It's not horrible, but it just didn't age that well to me. And again, you got to do like N.O.R.E. who just rhymes and says what Red was cracking. He must have seen my face because I was cracking up. Every time I hear N.O.R.E. rhyme with some of the lyrics, I'm just like.
So we respectfully put him in a category called the Audacity All Stars, where it's like the audacity to put out some of these lyrics, but we still like them. Just to recap what Mal said, again, we're talking about 2 different sides of the spectrum for the same era and the exact same party. Both these records were off in the tunnel, which is weird, right? Because you ever got this vision of the tunnel being so thugged out, but there's still ladies in the house. And there's still fellas that want to dance with the ladies. And both these songs achieved that. So that's why I'm just trying to say that they both were sort of on the same level of running radio, respectively in their own years. One was 97, one was 98. But both of them, huge radio play. Both of them, obviously, like I said, big debuts. Just a real quick number. I know I mentioned that Mace had a quadruple platinum release off his debut project. N.O.R.E. No Slouch, he had a gold release off this album. And again, we got to stop and think that both these numbers are probably a little bit bigger these days. I really doubt that he'd stop because in N.O.R.E.'s case, he went gold, I believe, 4 months after the album came out. And it's so it's been 30 years. He didn't move up another notch by now, especially with all the Super Thug played. Like, I don't want to hear that. And I believe the same thing for Mace at this point, considering he only really got 2 bodies of work, one that he was able to promote. So, number 3 debut for N.O.R.E. on the top 200, number 1 debut for Mace. These guys were the sound of hip hop in the late 90s. There was no like, yeah, so that was a New York thing. Like, no. Number 1 and number 3 on the top 200, not the R&B hip hop charts. They were on the top 200, which means they were playing with the big boys. Pause. So I got 1 vote in for Feel So Good, 1 vote in for Super Thug. Who wants to step up next? In fact, Ike, I wanted you to expand on that lyrics thing that you were talking about real quick, if you don't mind.
For how Trip was saying the Feel So Good record is a lot of fluff. There's a lot of fluff to it, a powder puff to it, I guess, how you're saying it. But when you listen to Mace and you listen to the lyrics, he's actually flowing on it to bring it that feel, that hip hop aspect, you know what I mean? And like, honestly, both of these songs got on my goddamn nerves because I heard them all the time. And I think the things that you could hate about both records, because you heard them all the time, just emphasized how much you hated that thing about the record. I just even listening to it now, I think I'm gonna switch my vote and I'm gonna go with Mace on this one. I was gonna say Super Thug, yeah, just due to the impact of that record. And it's amazing how he doesn't make any sense. The beat is not a stellar beat at all, but the hook and everything just had people going crazy every time that record comes on. And I'm one of those people that stand there and I'm like, how the fuck does this, like, I don't get it, man. Like I don't get it. I guess I'll stand outside the party, man.
No, it's 100% true. I think, again, both artists similar in what I'm about to mention. Both gentlemen had to overachieve what they had to do lyrically on the mic. Pause. So what you had is a situation with N.O.R.E, again, not the most lyrical in my opinion personally, but he would still get fly with certain things that he put together. Like when he explains the whole Cocker Spaniel thing, you find, oh, okay, and all that kind of stuff. And then you got Mace, again, what kind of Triple C mentioned, he's too pretty to be taken that serious, that he had to sort of come a little bit harder on an obvious track like Feel So Good and be like, yeah, but I at least gotta like be witty on the motherfucker because I can't just be easy and just rap like easy on this shit, you know what I'm saying? So another thing that I want to bring up is Douglas Hauser in the chat room brings up the story. Both records have an interesting story. The Super Thug story is your man Pharrell basically coerced N.O.R.E into basically doing this record, saying like, listen, I'm gonna give you your first number 1. You got to mess with me. He said he loved his charisma, his tight shirt and tight necklace, and he said he was like, I think okay, I'm gonna listen to it, and he went with his direction, and we all know Super Thug is a classic. And then you gotta say again.
I said Pharrell did that a lot.
Yeah, you had to believe his hype, and he would hype his records up, and he managed to work his way into getting on that album. And then you have the story behind the beat on Feel So Good is interesting, is it's Derek Angeletti, D-Dot, for those who don't know, the AK the Mad Rapper. I think it was Puff, like, hey, Luke that cool in the gang, and he was like, dude, like, are you serious? Again, with that, like, kind of how we were feeling at that time, like, it's so obvious. And Puff said, like, do it. And he was like, I'm gonna do it, but like, it's corny. And he said, I'll tell you what, if it becomes a hit record, you give me your publishing off the record. And they made a bet, and I'm assuming Puff be collecting. We all know. So I'm assuming that D-Dot gets no publishing off this single that he basically solo produced. Because if you look at the track record on all the Bad Boy stuff, it's very rare to find a solo producer unless you're the premieres of the world and, you know, sort of that nature, right? Like Puff's name is all over it. There's a bunch of hitmen that work together. This was Angeletti by himself, produced by Puff as well. Again, so interesting story behind both those records.
Wow. I never knew that. That's dope.
Yeah, it's crazy. He basically said like, I'm so positive this is gonna work. Like if you don't believe me, like make me a bet. This record becomes a hit. Like you got to give up the publishing on it. And he was like, all right. And I guess
that's coercion as well.
I mean, that's why I said he could. Matter of fact, you're right. On this level too, he coerced them. We got 2 votes in at the moment. Eats, Beats, and Rhymes. N.O.R.E versus Mace. Okay. N.O.R.E versus MASE. Let's talk about it. Biggest single off of both projects, debut album projects. Super Thug versus Feel So Good. Mace ahead by 1 vote at the moment. Does anybody want to step up and place their vote for Super Thug or Feel So Good? Let me know what you're thinking in the chat room. Everybody been chiming in with a bunch of dope info. What do you guys think? Who's going next?
First of all, I never liked Super Thug in the first place. As soon as he said run laps around the English Channel, I hit fast forward because I had a tape. And the beat was just annoyed me. Whereas Feel So Good, the way that he's rapping on it, I said, okay, so this is his radio Children of the Corn type rap where he's still talking shit, but it's just over something like, I'm gonna fuck you up, right? Like he with a smile.
It's very obvious. It's a very obvious beat.
I gotta go with Mace on this one.
Hey, going with Mace. We got another vote in the room. This is interesting.
Yeah, man, he learned from Biggie, man, because Biggie would have some of them pop joints and still spit hard
Exactly.
stuff, man. That's
Still
how I think
talking
he
about
learned.
feeling you.
I gotta give up the credit, and I think we can all see it because it's in the history. That's Puff. Puff brought that R&B hip hop magic together, and then created a whole label off of it, and followed, if anything, the Andre Harrell formula. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shout out to Uptown, rest in peace, Andre Harrell, one of the greatest labels, one of the greatest CEOs. Let's keep pushing. Let's talk to my man, Cool Breeze. Breeze, what are you thinking right now?
Man, I mean, both songs were huge when they came out. Listen to both. And I mean, Feel So Good was a cool song, but not one of my favorite Mace songs. I think Mace has some songs that were a little harder than that. Pause. So I'm gonna go with Super Thug on this one.
Super Thug by N.O.R.E.
Yeah.
Cool Breeze putting his vote down. We're wrapping up round number one. There's you already guys, if you know about the chat room keeps it lit. They're already going in. He diddy them all is one statement already. I'll just leave it at that one right there. They said earlier, you got a copy of the Mace album whenever you bought a minivan in 98. That was kind of special. I thought that was funny.
And the Diddy special?
Apparently, the no Diddy special these years. But let's keep it pushing. DJ Cruz in the building. Hey, DJ Cruz, salute. Listen, you're just in time. We are talking the 90s. We are talking the late 90s. And a little twist this time around, because we usually keep it very underground around here, right? But we're talking NORE versus M.A$E. That's right, debut projects. NORE versus Harlem World. We just wrapped up round number one. We talked about the biggest singles of each project. We figured let's get them out the way, round number one. Super Thug versus Feel So Good. Let's just get down to it. The win, not by a landslide, very close as a matter of fact, but the win goes to M.A$E. Mace Harlem World album on the scoreboard. Ding, ding, ding. It is officially 1-0. And again, every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in here live on Twitch and check us out on YouTube. The room was kind of divided. I'm not gonna front. I was keeping my eye on the chat room, and I saw a couple of votes for N.O.R.E, and I definitely saw a couple of votes for Mace as well. So I could be tripping, but I'm side eyeing the chat. I can never really give it my full attention. I apologize. I'm just glad I'm able to shout you guys out while you guys are in there. I don't know what they told my bootlegs. I'm gonna stay away from that. Let's move on to round